Ladies and gentlemen, it's your own time you're wasting. There may be detention at the end of this meeting if we go over. First of all, can I just say thank you so much for all sharing the ceremony this afternoon. I really do appreciate it. I just want to say thank you to the Civic Office and the attendants for indulging me, because this afternoon we've actually used the Batley mace. So I want to thank the Civic Office for allowing me that. So welcome to the first meeting, our annual council meeting. It's going to be a good year. I can tell you're all going to be on your best behaviour, because please note I can be a bit of a dragon if I want to be. But can I please ask all to remember one word which sometimes seems to disappear, sadly, in the world, and that is the word of respect. Please do show respect to your colleagues and also to members of the public when they come to speak in the council chamber. Thank you. And can I just say what a great honour it is for me as a Batley lass born and bred to be sat here as the Mayor of Kirklees, and I thank you all again for your support today. Down to business, folks. Declarations of interest. Members who have any disclosable pecuniary interests which would prevent them from discussing or voting on any item should disclose their interests now. Are there any interests to declare? No? Thank you. Can I remind any members who have declared, but no one has, an interest to complete this form and submit to the clerk by the end of the meeting. Item 5, Mayor and Chief Executive's announcements. I'm going to hand over to Jackie. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to advise Council of the official return of the election of councillors held on the 3rd of May 2018, as set out in the report attached to agenda item 5.
Thank you. Again, can I welcome all councillors to the new municipal year, including those who were re-elected and including our new councillors today. Councillors Griffiths, Munro, Upal, Thompson, Murgatroyd, and can we send our best wishes to Councillor Jewett. I move that approval be given to the continuation of maternity leave for Councillor Erin Hill following her re-election on the 3rd of May. Is that seconded? Thank you. Can I have a show of hands, please? Thank you. That motion has been carried. Now, can I ask if there are any apologies for absence this afternoon, please? Councillor Patrick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Apologies from Councillor Billy Jewett.
Thank you. Councillor Sokol.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Mayor, first of all, congratulate to you on your appointment of Mayor of the Kirklees Council, yes, and Councillor Hussain for Deputy Mayor. I'm not saying it's an apology, but as you have said, Councillor Aaron Hill is on maternity leave. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. No more apologies? Thank you. Item 7, election of the Leader of the Council for a maximum period of 4 years in accordance with Article 7 of the Constitution. Can I invite any nominations for the Leader of the Council? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Is that seconded? Seconded, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Firth. Are there any further nominations? No, thank you. Can I invite Councillor Sheard to say a few words?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and once again, congratulations for being the Mayor of Kirklees, and also to Councillor Mumtaz Hussain for Deputy Mayor of the Council. Madam Mayor, many of you will know that I've been the Deputy Leader of the Council for the last 2 years, and I've really put my energy and my passion and my full commitment behind what I've been doing. I'm sure people will know the amount of work I put in, and I don't want to go too much into that. Madam Mayor, I also don't want to say too many things, but I will say a few words in terms of the challenges we're facing and the priorities that we are hopefully going to work towards. And I want the support of the Council in that. Challenges we're facing, £197 million cuts already made. Next 2 years, another £44 million cuts. I still feel that the impact of them cuts have not been felt. So we need to actually make sure that we actually work together to actually face some challenges. Children's services, Madam Mayor. We were inadequate a few years ago, and we are now moving on a trajectory to actually improve the service with partners in Leeds under the leadership of Councillor Viv Kendrick. And we are already seeing green shoots appearing, and I don't want to jeopardise the hard work that this council has put in there and the leadership that Viv has shown in that, and I will show my commitment to actually make sure that we honour that commitment and we move forward and we actually get our children's services back on track and to make it the best children's services we have nationally. Balancing the books without saying it's really important that we actually don't go in the red, and we actually work on a cross-party basis to make sure that we balance our books, and that will be decided at the council meeting in February. Another big challenge is lacking in affordable housing. Business is actually not the way we want to see it develop, and growth is not as strong as we would like in this borough. That's why I will continue the work that David Sheard embarked on to make sure that we get the local plan through this council, and we want to make sure that we actually start investing in our local infrastructure. Adult social care, health, massive challenges, Madam Mayor. There is a care crisis. We all acknowledge that on a national basis. All parties actually acknowledge that. But we want to make sure that we actually work together to provide the best services we can to our citizens, and to link that to the NHS, both the acute trust, primary care trust, the community sector and the mental health sector, and not forgetting the voluntary sector, Madam Mayor. Infrastructure is a massive issue as well. Councillor Peter McBride has been doing some wonderful work with the Combined Authority. I wish to pursue that, and again the local plan links that very, very closely. Something you actually mentioned at the beginning, Madam Mayor, we have to respect the public. And the only way we can respect the public is to respect each other in this chamber. That's not to say that we don't have robust debates. I'm all for robust debates, but we have to make sure that we are exemplars in our communities that we are serving. Because far too often I hear people saying, it's like, how do you actually do business in the council chamber? They don't know the amount of work we actually do behind the scenes, where real business is done. So I'm not saying we curtail debate, but we have to make sure that we actually show a good example to our public. Devolution is also a massive issue. I was at a meeting yesterday, Madam Mayor, where there were different opinions going back and forth. And the reason why that was that people don't understand what devolution is about. All leaders up in Yorkshire, up north, 21 leaders have actually been working really, really hard. And we have an agreement across all party leaders, 21 local authorities, to actually make something happen within the next 2 years. So I will carry on that commitment that Dave's actually given to make sure we actually deliver on that. To underpin all that, Madam Mayor, we have to understand that our diverse communities, from one end of the borough to the other, is very different. So we have to make sure that fairness, equality and respect is actually sort of observed all the time. So I want to make sure that all the inequalities that exist up and down our borough, we actually start to address that in terms of health inequalities, employment, inclusivity and diversity. I also want to give a commitment that I will actually do what I can to actually make sure I support all members in this chamber, because there is still a lot of development stuff that we need to do, and I will need to do that. And I can see my light flashing, Madam Mayor.
30 seconds, Councillor.
I want this council, Madam Mayor, to be the best council by 2020, and I've given my commitment to our Chief Exec, and together hopefully we'll make a fantastic team, and let's go for it. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Pandor. Councillor David Hall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and again congratulations on your election of Mayor. I'm sure you'll have a very pleasant and profitable and purple year of office. I think it would be remiss of us if we didn't say thank you to Councillor Sheard for his tenure of office. We have our disagreements, but anybody that holds responsibility with office will know that it isn't done lightly, so thank you, Councillor Sheard. Councillor Pandor has finally relinquished his role as Best Supporting Actor and now takes the star billing. It's been a longer sent up the greasy pole, but he's there, and his colleagues have voted to elevate him there, and that's the position we're in. Now, I've no inside intelligence to how these things happen in the Labour machinery. No doubt there are certain deals and promises and all these kinds of things go on, and the rest of us can just look on in amusement, really, as to how these things happen. However, one supposes that he got the top job because he felt that a change in approach or a change of policy was needed in the council. Therefore, I'm slightly disappointed that he hasn't taken a little bit more time to actually tell us what his approach is going to be in the council. What are we actually supposed to elect him to do? Is he going to set forth his opportunity? Is he going to set forth his new direction for the council? The faces at the top table seem unchanged, apart from the do-si-do between the two at the top there. So are we then to suppose from that there will be no change of direction for the council? Things will continue as they are, no change of policy, no change of direction. And perhaps, if he gets a chance at some point, he might enlighten us as to what his thoughts are about that. Madam Mayor, Councillor Pandor is taking on a huge responsibility on many, many levels. And we need, every member of this council, the confidence that his term of office will not be conducted according to any personal debts which have to be paid. Because he's not only answerable to his own party, he's answerable to the whole of this council. And we need the confidence to know that at the times when we look to the leader of the council to speak on all our behalves, sometimes, at times of great solemnity or immense sensitivity, we need the confidence that he will do that without partisanship and lead. He's also answerable to the employees of this council, the officer corps and the army of volunteers that carry out the delivery of public services in this borough. And he needs to show that he's aware of the pressures on our employees, that he cares for their well-being and values their labours, and that he will act as a figurehead and an exemplar. But foremost, Madam Mayor, of course, the leader of the council is answerable to the people of the borough, the residents that put us all here. And it's their concerns that he must place at the top of his list, from the most vulnerable in our communities to the most able. Because he's going to take over at a time when Kirklees is riddled with problems, which need to be tackled urgently. We've got crumbling infrastructure, we've got the plague of potholes, half-empty town centres, struggling businesses, a crisis in children's safeguarding services, looming strike action, to name but a few, not to mention pressures on every budget which we administer. Now, these are the things that the residents are worrying about. And yet, the only reaction we seem to have had from the Labour administration in the past few years is political posturing and to cover their own inactivity on many fronts. It's also an expectation of residents that the incoming leader and his administration will be held to account by the members of this chamber. And it's incumbent on all of us, particularly in the opposition parties, to make sure that we redouble our efforts in that regard. I sincerely wish Councillor Pandor well in his new role, as I would anyone who takes on such responsibility. But before this group can endorse his candidacy, he will need to show that he's got the mettle to put the interests of the borough above the interests of his own party. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Councillor Lawson, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Welcome to your first chair of your first meeting. Hope it all goes swimmingly. I'd like to echo your best wishes to Councillor Jewett. Our best wishes go to him for his recovery. And our echo Councillor Hall's thanks to Councillor Sheard for doing the work that he's done over the last few years as leader of the council. We're asked today whether or not we will support Councillor Pandor as the leader of the council in the coming year. I'd like to begin by saying that nobody here is questioning the democratic mandate of the Labour Party to form their own administration and to choose a suitable leader of the council. They're the largest elected party group and now in overall control. We will be treating them as so. Is a strong leader and the cabinet model the best suited to face the challenges that are coming up. This party doesn't think so. Our group doesn't think so. We would prefer much more a cooperative committee-style approach. But we have what we have at the moment, and that's what we've got to live with. Those are the environments we've got to work in. Aside from the last vote for Councillor Pandor as leader and its results, this party also voted against Councillor Pandor's 2018 budget. We did not believe that it addressed some of the basic housekeeping issues that the public are concerned about. The libraries were put into a third review, unclassified roads were abandoned to their fate, and solutions from ourselves and other groups were simply voted down without proper attention. Opportunities to use windfall gains and the 9.1 million from the debt restructuring were missed. Grand gestures were made, and then announcements have been made since, with no plans of how to implement them, and leaving us all feeling that we're discussing building an extension to the house while the roof needs fixing. It was a budget that the Liberal Democrats strongly agreed with. Councillor Pandor was the architect of that budget, and as leader would be the one to implement it. On policy terms alone, we must vote against Labour's choice of leader and continue to campaign for the communities we serve, making sure that their voices are heard and their needs are met and the basics are done well across the board before we do anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lawson. I'm now going to invite Councillor Pandor to reply. Sorry, your name's not on. Councillor Cooper.
I see those Labour members who came down with a bug at the last annual meeting haven't had a relapse. Of course, none of us wish them any ill, and we appreciate this was a rare bug, that should you catch it twice, it could end up being fatal, politically. So it looks like the result of this leadership vote, given the current balance, is predetermined. I understand the Labour group had a secret ballot to determine their leader, and they're very democratic, followed by a secret result, and then a declaration of the winner, like the Pope. But I'm assured the new Labour leader has the support of the many, and not the few. I and other opposition party leaders expressed our views on Labour's nominee for the leadership this time last year, and the Council fell into turmoil without a leader that a majority of members could support. My views and my vote will not change, but the Council needs a leader, and whatever I think and however I vote, it will have one. I will seek to work constructively with the leadership of Kirklees Council, as I always do, whatever its political complexion. But that will not mean I will not be critical or hold the leader and the Cabinet members to account. There is a danger that with a majority that Labour will revert to factory settings. We're in control, we know best. That way goes nowhere. You only have to look at Sheffield City Council to see how lost a majority Labour administration can become when it seeks to imprison an opposition councillor simply for seeking to protect the environment and the community that they represent. Fortunately, our Green colleague, Councillor Alison Teal, was acquitted and re-elected with a large majority. You can imagine Labour voices in the Labour group saying, now we have a majority, we can do what we want. As if there was some grand Labour master plan that they were going to use to take the council forward. As if they were being constantly constrained by other parties on this council from doing some policy objective that they wanted to achieve. That simply is not the case, and goodness knows we need a master plan of some sort to take us forward. The council faces significant challenges. Children's services, our precarious funding mix, the roads, the lack of capacity to draw on investment and deliver projects, to name but a few. The Council also has significant opportunities, should it have the imagination, ambition and ability to realise the unique role the Council can have in leading for our communities. Providing opportunities for young people, shaping the future infrastructure for things like electric vehicles, having a strategy to address our deteriorating local environments with fly tipping and poor air quality. And yes, pushing on passive house standards for new build housing as much as we can. This is where leadership is needed. We need to see a programme which will show us the direction a leader will lead us in. We haven't seen that yet, and we need to see it soon. Now, some of what it takes to be a leader is who you surround yourself with. People with intelligence, people with good judgment, people of integrity, and certainly there are some people who I describe in those terms in the Labour Cabinet. However, the recent election in the News and World gave us an insight into the qualities of one of the current Cabinet members. It was a Labour campaign which featured Twitter trolling of myself and Councillor Karen Allison, willful misrepresentation of our budget amendment on electric vehicles, making out this capital funding could be spent on children's services, when you know you couldn't use the money for that purpose, and nor could you. Then there was all the stuff people told us your canvas was said on the doorstep. So, Councillor Khan, to be fair, you were the Labour campaign manager we would have chosen, or Mahboob's smarter sister, as I like to think of you. To show there are no hard feelings, here are the poster boards you left behind in the campaign. And Councillor
Cooper. Councillor Cooper. Councillor Cooper.
Sorry?
Respect.
I finished. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Martin Bolt, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and can I echo the congratulations which have been given. As has just been alluded to, the qualities of a leader are also those with whom he surrounds himself, whether that's in sport, politics or business. And I think in voting for the leader, we need to have some kind of assurance from the current candidate. And I hope in summing up he will reflect on the comments that were said by his deputy the last time Councillor Pandor was elected, because the people of Kirklees need to know that the Cabinet will be elected on ability and no other grounds, Madam Mayor. We also need to have a commitment from the leader of his diligence to the role. And Councillor Cooper has reflected on the local elections. Councillor Pandor was an election agent, as you know, in Batley, and said in comments to the media that he hadn't read material for which he is legally and morally responsible before signing it off. That's bad enough in an election, Madam Mayor, but when we're faced with running Kirklees Council, can we have anybody who doesn't read a cabinet paper, reports or other matters?
Just a moment, Councillor Bolt. You need to press your button, please.
The refers to, right, had nothing to do with what we're talking about, so I don't know why it's been allowed in terms of the election.
Thank you. Like I say, the word respect, please do remember that. And can I also note that some people are messing about on the mobile phones. Please listen to what is being said in the council chamber. These are important meetings. This is being webcast. Thank you.
Can I continue, Madam Mayor?
Yes, as long as you behave yourself, Councillor Bolt.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was being respectful and mindful of the responsibilities that the leader faces for the public of Kirklees. As you say, this is being webcast. The relevance to the election material is a matter of diligence and responsibility. When taking decisions for the whole of Kirklees, we want a commitment that those papers will have been read, digested and thoroughly understood before making a decision. This was thankfully not a serious issue of the election material in terms of the impact that it would have on the populace. But if that had been a Kirklees report covering expenditure, children's services or something else that the leader had signed off without reading, then that would have had severe ramifications. And I think it's quite right that we ask for a commitment of diligence and responsibility. And as I said, he will, within 7 days, announce his cabinet to the world. But given the comments that were made before and the very public disagreements, lacking in respect, as you said, the people of Kirklees need to know that, those choices will be based purely on ability. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bolt. Please can I invite Councillor Pandor to reply.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Hall, David Hall, make some interesting points. I don't really want to start going to a slanging match, Madam Mayor, because I don't think it's going to be fair for you, because it's your day to be the first citizens of Kirklees. But one thing I will say, he mentioned our staff. I give you a commitment in this chamber, Madam Mayor, that we will value our staff. I value our staff all the time. What I expect from my other leaders of the opposition parties is to work with me and not to scaremonger unduly. Also, Madam Mayor, we need to respect the trade unions. He didn't mention the trade unions, who are there and the backbone to actually make sure that they support our staff. So I will do whatever I can, Madam Mayor, to make sure that we value our staff, right, and we take them through the difficult journey that we are going on together. If it wasn't for the government's austerity programme that started in 2010 with the coalition government, we won't be in this mess. So when I hear other parties talk about the architecture of a budget that was created, yeah, well, the big architecture was the government. 40% of our base budget, Madam Mayor, has been cut. Now, if they can show me a magic tree, all well and good, but difficult decisions will have to be made. And I make no apologies, Madam Mayor, to say that I will face up to them decisions. And what we will do will be in the best interest of Kirklees. Madam Mayor, up and down the country, councils have gone bust. Up and down the country, services have shut. Up and down the country, libraries have shut. And I am pleased to say that under the leadership of this Cabinet, with David Shearer as leader, and Councillor Graham Turner as the lead member for libraries, we have not gone down that road. The review is still undergoing, and what our position is that we will actually make sure that the service that we deliver will be in the best interest of the public. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Pandor. Please can we now move to the vote using your consoles. Thank you. That vote has been carried. And can I welcome Councillor Pandor as the leader of Kirklees Council. Item 8, proposed amendments to the Constitution, reference from Corporate Governance and Audit Committee, page 19. Councillor Richards, please.
Come on. I move that the proposed changes to the Constitution and the recommendations as set out in paragraph 6 on page 26 of the report be approved.
Thank you, Councillor Richards. Is that seconded, please? Good. I've got lots of people seconding. That is seconded. Thank you. Are there any amendments to the motion or comments? Councillor Bolt, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I propose an amendment in specific to page 22, CPR 211, and this is the item 4 in bold, relating to the budget. The draft suggests that in order to allow a full debate when we come to the budget and the amendments, when speaking, a member can speak about either any budget amendment or presumably anything else that takes their fancy at the time. We saw a partial glimpse of this at the last budget, and that didn't lead to a full debate, ordered or reasonable understanding. That just led to a cacophony of people spoke about somebody else's budget, somebody else's amendment. We need a structured debate for the biggest decision this council makes. Therefore, we need to have things kept so that people are speaking to the item in front of them. We don't want members to be confused when they're voting. We want members to fully understand the implications, because by introducing debate onto something, heaven forbid some members may misinterpret what was said. Therefore, the system we had has, for 40-odd years, allowed that debate. Or, if we want to explore whether it is in fact a debate, we sit here, somebody makes a speech and somebody else makes a counter-speech. Debates, as they are in the House of Parliament, allow for interruption and interventions, which we don't in this chamber. So let's not go down the line of believing that allowing people to talk about things which aren't on the table at that time allows for any more structure or reason. All it does is allow for people to confuse the item before them and have a repetition of last year. So therefore I move that that 2.11, item 4, is deleted.
Thank you, Councillor Bolt. Seconded?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And in rising to second this, I also add my congratulations to yourself and Councillor Hussain for your elections today. I welcome this attempt to try and clarify how we actually discuss the budget, because I think it's a fair point that it has been difficult to try and get it right. But I agree with my colleague that I don't think the wording here does that, and I would prefer that we didn't approve this change today, but actually referred it back and perhaps take it through leaders to try and have a fuller debate on exactly how we document how that will work in practice. So we've got a complete understanding, so we don't get into the budget debate in February, and like this February, where I think we spent a long time in the all-party briefing beforehand trying to understand how it was going to work, and then we got into the chamber, it didn't work. So I think it's not that we don't agree that there needs to be change, we absolutely do. We just don't think this wording is adequate to do that. And I would strongly ask that we refer this back so that we can have a full discussion and get it well documented, so everybody's clear about what will happen when we get into that budget debate in February, so everybody feels they've had the fair chance to have their say, to debate the issues, to debate the amendments in order, and also that the general public that are following us on webcast can follow that. Because if we have people talking about different amendments at the same time and they're back to the original budget, it's going to be incredibly difficult for members of the public to actually follow that. So I'd strongly ask that we, do defer this point so we can have a proper, fuller debate and make sure that we all understand thoroughly how it's going to work in practice. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Can I just clarify that what this amendment is, that it's actually just a deletion of words and that it's not necessarily needs to go back? Can you just clarify, please? It is just for deletion. Okay, thank you. Councillor Sheard, please.
Madam Mayor, I have to tender my congratulations to you both, like everyone else. I've got to admit, I feel I'm speaking a bit against my own interest here, because as a fully paid up member with Martin of the Pedants Institute, pedants. I mean, I realise that, and if Martin's wrong in one thing, that what has been different over 44 years, over the past 44 years, there's been a different quality of councillors. And the councillors who understood the rules of debate and understood what debate was about. And anyone who watched the budget meeting this year and watched Martin's performance, when he kept jumping up and counting for points of order and trying to disrupt anybody saying what they wanted to say, over and over again, if you think that is illustrative, if that is, think that is interesting for the members of the public watch on webcast, who want to see you jumping up all the time saying point of order, which you just made up, by the way, because you never read this stuff. You just make up and invent points of order. frequently, and admit it, Martin. You know you do. So, I mean, I just think this is... I agree with John in some ways. I mean, it could have been worded better. But we've got to... It's important that a budget debate, people have the right to say what they want to say about the budget and not have someone jumping up and being petty about this is order. We all know what we were talking about. We all know it was just a matter of disruption for disruption's sake. So, if you want to put something different to it, John, work on it, bring it forward to the Audit and Governance Committee and try and improve it. But in the meantime, let's not leave this as it stands openly for Martin to keep jumping up and down and making invented points of order or points of information. And let's just vote this through and try and make the debate open so people can say what they want to say in a very important debate.
Thank you, Councillor Sheard. If there are no more comments, we're going to move to the vote, but please can you use your consoles on this one, please? Thank you. That amendment has not been carried. Any further amendments, please? Councillor David Hall, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move a further amendment, which is quite simply the deletion of the recommendation at paragraph 2.13, which is on page 23 of the agenda. Currently, the Mayor, at their discretion, may allow a member of the public to speak under any item at full council, apart from the annual meeting or the Budget Council. And this particular suggested resolution will remove that right for full council meetings. It will remain at Cabinet and committees. I feel there still may be occasions where we are in full council where to have the opinion of someone who may not be a member of this chamber, but maybe somebody that is learned in a particular point would be advantageous, and removing this prerogative of the Mayor, actually we would have to suspend standing orders, which isn't a very good thing to do because we're doing it all the time and it just confuses the issue. So I would like to delete that particular resolution so that any member of the public may, by the invitation of the Mayor, speak on any matter under consideration. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Is that seconded, please?
Seconded, Madam Mayor. Reserve the right.
Thank you, Councillor Sims. Any other comments, please? Councillor Sims, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Congratulations today is in order. Can I also congratulate the Labour Party in getting a controlling majority? With that, of course, comes responsibilities. You'll no longer be able to pass the buck. You'll have to stand by what you do. And paragraph 213, in my way, is starting to stifle challenge. Okay? Sorry? It's not, yeah. Seem to be some differences here, but I've got 213 and that's what I'm talking about. Am I right? Okay, thank you. That's my own party. I look what I'm up against. Yeah, so Madam Mayor, it's important that we don't stifle challenges, especially from the public in these times when when things are a challenge.
Excuse me, can we just have a bit of quiet, please, while Councillor Sims is speaking? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I repeat once again, it's quite important that we don't stop the challenge from members of the public at this most important time when things are constrained and people are worried and want to know what the council's doing. So therefore I would support the withdrawal of this. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Sims. We'll now move to the vote, so using your consoles, please. Voting on this amendment. Thank you. That amendment is not carried. Are there any further amendments, please? Please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I, like others, congratulate you and your deputy on your election, and we do wish you a successful year. The amendment I'd like to move is to delete all on 2.19. The changes we feel are not constructive for the way this council should be run. Now, I've seen a lot of scrutiny in different councils across the country. I've seen some good scrutiny, I've seen some bad scrutiny, I've seen some appalling and shambolic scrutiny. And that's across the political parties. And actually, we've argued about how good our scrutiny is in this council, and we'll continue to argue how good it is. And that's right. But we have been always, and I would argue remain above average on a bad day. So I think it's really important we look at what we're doing here. Now, we've had scrutiny since the Cabinet new changes and Cabinet was introduced. Effective scrutiny was supposed to be the buy-off for the rest of Council for giving the leader and his Cabinet or her Cabinet ultimate power, because that's what it really is. And that was all members, and it's really important that Labour members understand this as well, all members of Council to challenge the Executive. Really important part of the deal that brought in under by the Labour government when they brought in the new changes in 2000. And in 18 years of scrutiny, we still have had not more than 10 scrutiny callings. Because actually we've been quite responsible as a council in the way we've done things. And that is across political administrations of all parties. If I was to stand back and look back objectively, and I would say I think it's fair, that actually if you look at those issues that have been called in, then each of one of them actually were areas where the administration of the day, and I include my own in that, perhaps got a bit carried away with what it was doing and didn't listen enough to other councillors, to the communities, and didn't actually take account of a wider spread of opinion. And I think that was brought out by the fact that those were justified to have those call-ins. And actually, I think all administrations have actually been big enough in their own way to recognise that, and to recognise they could have done things better in the hindsight. And scrutiny played an important function in ensuring that happened, and therefore the decisions, I would argue, I would hope, by those administrations were better at the end of that. So I pose this question: why are we now going to change it? Because these proposals set out under 2.19, what do they actually do?
Well, they protect officers from scrutiny. They protect the Cabinet from scrutiny. And they potentially give the opportunity to restrict the role of the 59 members who are not on the executive. Now, I think that's fundamentally wrong. I think it goes against the interests of opposition councillors. I actually think it goes fundamentally against the interests of the administration councillors and the Cabinet, because it leads to weaker decision making. Strong challenge means better decisions. It means you face up to the issues before you make the decision, not when they hit you in the face afterwards. And that is what scrutiny has done in the last 18 years in all the ways that it operates. It's saved successive administrations from making poor decisions by the way it's functioned. That's why these changes are wrong and will not help anyone in this council chamber. And I would hope all members would just take a minute to stand back, reflect and say, this is not in our interest and the council's interest to approve these changes, because it will concentrate power in the hands of officers and an elite few in the Cabinet.
30 seconds, Councillor Light. Thank you. Sorry, is that seconded? Thank you, Councillor Smirch.
Oh, thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations to you both. Congratulations to Councillor Iredale on her year in office as well. I think in rising to second this motion, Madam Mayor, this is not the time to dilute scrutiny in any shape or form. We need robust and fair scrutiny in this council. For a long time, Kirklees was the leader in scrutiny. We shouldn't be following the others. We should be the leader once again. And this is a backward step. The wording of it is also extremely vague. And on the question of whether a call-in is valid or not, there are some contradictions. If this wording goes through, there will be contradictions in the Constitution, and it will leave validity open to question. I therefore, Madam Mayor, second this motion to delete this wording. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smirch. Any comments? Councillor Stewart-Turner, please.
Thank you. And congratulations, Madam Mayor and Deputy Mayor. And congratulations, Christine, on a great year. Thank you. I actually agree with a lot of what Councillor Light and Councillor Smirch said. I do think scrutiny in Kirklees is above average and improving on a regular basis, and we've got a great team. And I do think everybody should have the right for calling. I've been very defensive of everybody's right to calling decisions. I think it's a really important part of the democratic process. But there needs to be clarity in call-ins, and there has been lots of debate in previous years as to the reasons for call-ins. And as much as I agree with you, I think I do also respect the democratic process we've adopted as a council, and this has gone through 2 years of consulting different political groups, being debated in different arenas. It's been through corporate governance audits, at least twice I've been there. And the wording in the Constitution is wording that was agreed as a compromise at the corporate governance audit. It wasn't the recommendation of officers. It was reworded to, as part of the compromise at corporate governance audit, that group. Assurance that I will always passionately defend everyone's right to call in decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments? So we now move to the vote, please, on that amendment using your consoles. Thank you. So that's not been carried. So please can we move back to the substantive motion, please? And again, we're going to be voting on the consoles. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. I think next full council we will have a quick IT lesson on button pressing. It might be useful. Item 9. Proposed amendments to Council Financial Procedure Rules. Reference from Corporate Governance and Audit Committee, page 89. Councillor Richards, please.
I propose that the changes to the financial procedure rules as set out within the report be approved.
Thank you, Councillor Richards. Is that seconded, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Patterson. Are there any amendments to the motion or comments? No, please can we vote by show of hands? Thank you, that is carried. Item 10, Meetings of Council 2018-2019, reference from Corporate Governance and Audit Committee, page 143. Councillor Richards, please.
I move that the schedule of council meetings for 2018-19 municipal year as set out in agenda item 10 be approved so that our new mayor can sort her diary out.
Anybody want to buy a diary? Thank you, Councillor Richards. Is that seconded, please?
Yes, I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Patterson. Any amendments to the motion or comments? Please can we move to the vote? Show of hands, please. That has been carried. Thank you. Item 11, to determine the committees of the Council for 2018-2019 municipal year, page 147. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sokol.
Yeah. Madam Mayor, I move that approval be given to the establishment of the committees, panels and board as set out in the report agenda item 11, accordance with the council constitution. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sokol. Is that seconded, please? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Any amendments to the motion or comments? Please can we move to the vote by show of hands? Thank you. That is carried. Item 12, re-establishment of Corporate Parenting Board, page 151. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Kendrick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I recommend that the Corporate Parenting Board is re-established for 2018-19 with a membership of 1111 as laid out in the report and with the updated terms of reference.
Thank you, Councillor Kendrick. Is that seconded, please? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Are there any amendments to the motion or comments? Please can we move to the vote by show of hands? Thank you. That is carried. Item 13, re-establishment of Regional Issues Working Party, page 157. Do I have a mover, please? Please.
This report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Pandor. Is that seconded? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Are there any amendments to the motion or comments? Thank you. Please can we vote by a show of hands? That is carried. Thank you. Item 14, re-establishment of Kirklees Democracy Commission Working Party, page 161. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Cathy Scott.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations to you and also Councillor Mumtaz Hussain. I move the re-establishment of the Kirklees Democracy Commission Working Party.
Thank you, Councillor Scott. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Cooper. Are there any amendments to the motion or comments? Please can we move to the vote by show of hands? Thank you. That is carried. Item 15, proposed revisions to terms of reference of Health and Wellbeing Board, page 165. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Pandor.
I'd like to move the proposed revisions of the terms of reference for the Health and Wellbeing Board, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Pandor. Is that seconded? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Any amendments to the motion or comments? Thank you. Please can we vote now by show of hands? Thank you. That is carried. Item 16, allocation of seats. I intend to deal with this matter in two parts. Firstly, to determine those committees and boards where the requirements of sections 15 and 16 of the Local Government and Housing Act 1989 shall not apply. Have a mover, please. Councillor.
Madam Mayor, I move that the requirement of section 15 and 16 of the Local Government and Housing Act 1989 shall not apply to the Corporate Governance and Audit Committee, Overview and Scrutiny Management Committee, and Health and Wellbeing Board for the ensuing municipal year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sokol. Is that seconded, please? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Any amendments to the motion or comments? Please can we move to the vote by show of hands? Thank you. That is carried. Item 16, Part 2, the number and proportion of committees, boards and panels. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Sokol.
Madam Mayor, I move that the number and proportion of members of committees, boards and panel be in accordance with the schedule circulated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sokol. Is that seconded? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Are there any amendments to the motion or comments? Thank you. Please can we vote now by show of hands? Thank you. That is carried. Item 17, membership of committee, boards and panels and substitutes panels. Have a mover, please. Councillor Sokol.
Madam Mayor, I move that the membership as set out in the table report relevant to the agenda item 17 to be approved, and that the allocation of any outstanding places on any committee, board and panel or subsequent amendment be delegated to group business manager. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sokol. Is that seconded, please? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Are there any amendments to the motion or comments? Please can we move to the vote by a show of hands? You'll all have our makeup at the end of the day. Thank you, that is carried. Item 18, dates and times of committees, boards and panels, page 171. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sokol.
Madam Mayor, I move that the dates and times of meeting of committees, board and panel be in accordance with the schedule at agenda item 18. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sokol. Is that seconded, please? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Are there any amendments to the motion or comments? Please can we move to the vote by show of hands? Thank you. That is carried. Item 19, appointment of members to joint authorities, page 181. On the mover, please, Councillor Sokol.
Madam Mayor, I move that the recommendation as set out at paragraph 6 of the report, page 183, be approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sokol. Is that seconded? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Any amendments to the motion or comments? Please can we move to the vote by a show of hands? Thank you. That is carried. Item 20, appointments to outside bodies, other committees, page 185. Mover, please, Councillor Sokol.
Madam Mayor, I move that the recommendation as set out in paragraph 6 of the report, page 187, be approved.
Thank you, Councillor Sokol. Is that seconded, please? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Any amendments to the motion or comments? Please can we move to the vote by show of hands? Thank you. That is carried. Item 21, nomination of council spokespersons on joint committees and external bodies to reply to oral questions at council meetings upon any service provided by those organisations, page 193. Mover, please. Councillor Sokol.
Madam Mayor, I move that the recommendation as set out at paragraph 6 of the report, page 195, be approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sokol. Is that seconded, please? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Are there any amendments to the motion or comments? Please can I move to the vote by show of hands? Thank you. That is carried. Item 22, appointment of chairs of committees and panels for the municipal year. Mover, please, Councillor Sokol.
Madam Mayor, that the appointment of chairs of committees and panel be in accordance with the schedule as circulated to all members of the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sokol. Is that seconded? Thank you, Councillor Sheard. Are there any amendments to the motion or comments? Please can we move to the vote by show of hands? Thank you. That is carried. I will now close the council meeting and request all members to remain in the chamber for the following meetings: Licensing and Safety Committee, Overview and